back to my channel. This is Amber's World. If you are new here, welcome. I am so glad that you found me. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you are not new here and you've already subscribed and you're already part of my family, welcome back. Today is a new episode of the Black Heroes and Sheroes of Today interview series. This next guest I am a huge fan of. I literally fangirl over this woman so much, and to call her family just makes it even more of a bonus. Rose Sanderson is by far one of the most fabulous women I have ever met. If the little slideshow in the beginning didn't say enough, this woman is I just want to be her when I grow up. I'm not going to say too much. I can't wait you guys to hear her very, very, very unique story. With that said, I present to you the Rose Sanderson.
Where are you from?
Where am I from? This is such a, you're going to find this interesting. So I was born in Congo, in Africa, Republic Democratic of Congo. And I lived there for the five first year of my life. And then at the age of 5, I moved with some of my siblings to Belgium. And I was raised in a year-round boarding school with my siblings until I was in my early teenager years. So I was raised by nuns for, major part of my younger years. And then finally at 15, I was out of the, nun and sisters and kind of learned freedom. And then at the age of 20, I moved to the United States. So Africa, Europe, and United States, basically. This was my journey.
What was that transition like going from Africa to Europe?
You know what? I was so young, right? I was so young. And usually when people ask me where I'm from, I usually say Belgium because this is the years that I really remember. So I was 5 and I was with my siblings. So it was still like a little family within that boarding school. So that the transition from Congo full-time to Europe full-time, I don't quite remember. Although when I was in Europe, I used to go back to Congo every summer because my parents still lived there, had the business there, worked there. So that was our summer holiday. We will go back home. So that transition was pretty easy. And coming to the US at 20, that was also very easy because at that point I was older. I was, into that, wanted to experience the American life, what we used to see on TV all the time. So I was very excited to come here. And so all those different transitions for me were very easy. It wasn't hard at all.
And boarding school. What was boarding school like? I think you're the first person that I know of who has been to a boarding school. What was that like?
You know what? I can say maybe when I was there, I may not have been a fan of it. It wasn't bad, again, because my siblings were with me, cousins were with me. But in retrospect, when I think about it now, my longest friendships are with people that I went to boarding school from the age of 5 until I left. I was 14. So when I think about even being with the nuns and the sister and being there, really the whole year, it's been a great experience. I love it. However, I know too that I wouldn't be able to do that with my kids. I never were able to do that, say, oh, I'm going to send my kids to boarding school. But it was an experience that really now I really appreciate. It taught me a lot. I really do appreciate it. It's definitely different. It's not something that, that is easy. But I think what made it easy, that process easy, it's because I had family with me. So, I woke up, we each went to our classes. We all had our, little play people that we had that we spend the time with. But, at night, I knew my cousin was there. My sisters were there. So it was fine. It was really fine.
And so after boarding school, did you go to a university, college?
You in boarding school for 10, 11 years, finally teenager, you out of there, I found out freedom. So
Yeah.
yeah, school education became much harder for me. So it was
Mhm.
just really, I had to force myself. I wasn't enjoying it. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to, just do other things than just going to school. So when I finished high school, I never went to university back home. I attempted college when I finally came here. I started that first year of college. I changed from one community college to another, and it was just not for me. So really, that was the end of my education as far as going to school, college. When I came here, I attempted to do the college thing. I always dreamt about being a psychologist, and still until now I keep thinking about it that I should have, but no regret there. I'm where I need to be now, but yeah, that's something that I wish maybe I would have persevered and done, but it was not in the book for me.
We're in the United States. Tried
Hmm.
college, didn't quite work out for you.
Hmm.
So, tell me about like your career and just their transition to the work life.
I will say my career is, and I always wanted to do something that had to do with fashion, but also with service, where um, you just sort of learn how to um, relate to customer, and the service, and just kind of anticipate what the customer need, and all of that aspect always just kind of interested me. It's something that in Europe we don't have. Stores and customer service is definitely not the same level that it is here. So it's really something that I learned to appreciate when I came here in the United States. And when I first came in, I started working at Neiman Marcus. I worked at merry-go-round, so those little shop, and then work my way up to Neiman Marcus, and then um, I decided to go into the service industry. And again, it needed to be somewhere that for me it was very elevated, because I wanted again to that experience of how you really cater to sort of like a elevated customer base. So I started working at the Four Seasons Hotel here in Boston. And I was there for 8 years. Loved it. Love the value. Love just the DNA of that company. When you talk about service, I think that they at the top of the line. They just
Mhm.
excellent. So I worked there for 8 years, and then the fashion bug, you know, caught up to me again, and decided to just maybe do both. I stayed at the Four Seasons full time, and then I started at Thomas Pink, which is a British, at the time was a British company under the LVMH Louis Vuitton umbrella, and I started that part time, but very quickly, within 5 months, they asked me to take over the management of the stores in Boston. And at that point, we had two stores, one in the Copley Mall, which is the upscale mall here in Boston, and one in downtown Boston. So, I was like, okay, why not? So I left the Four Seasons Hotel and then just went into Thomas Spring full time. And I was there for 15 years, but not 15 years doing the same thing. The where I was very lucky, I think I'm a hard worker and I love fashion and I love everything that is well done, properly done. But I had people in my corner that saw what I was offering and definitely paved the way to help me, grow within the company. So I started as multi-site manager. So I was managing two store. Then they opened a third store, which also I took over under my umbrella. And then from there, I started doing a lot of the operation training for the company. And from there, I went into the corporate side. Corporate for us was in New York. So that, when that entails a lot of traveling, I was traveling now in all the stores within North America, which is Canada. We had Canada and the US. So I was doing all the operation for them. And did that for 8 years in store, and then 7 years traveling around. And yeah, after 15 years, I decided that, enough with the traveling. I wanted to be home for the last, 2 years of my daughter being at home before she started college. And so I scaled back and left Thomas Pink.
Let's talk about your book and your love for, well, it actually makes sense to me now when you talk about, your experience at the Four Seasons and just, you loving the customer service aspect, and you love how it also coincided with your passion for fashion,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense now why you love to like host events, engagements, parties. And guys, this woman right here can make the most beautiful spreads. And I think I'm going to actually feature a few photos of the things you posted on your blog, and you posing, because people need to see the whole visual of what I'm talking about here. She can make a spread like no other. She can cook like nobody's business. The presentation is beautiful. So how has that added to your life? What really sparked you to really get into that?
I never wanted to be something that is messy and not appealing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and that goes with, how I dress most of the time. What color do you see me dressing on? I'm always most of the time in black, right? Black, white. I like things that are really crisp, clean, very, you know what I mean? That just right away, that is appealing to the eye, and without being too complicated. So when I cook, is the same thing. I cook, and I cook, I eat, and when I have people over, I want them, even before they taste it, to look at it and just say, "Oh my God, that's good." And they didn't even taste it, but just looking at it, it's appealing, and they want to taste it. So in everything I do, I always think about the vision of it, how people will, connect to it, because that's the first connection that you have with anything, food, beverage, and so on and so forth. So I always look into beautifying things. It's, and, it can be sort of, a pain to do that also, because nothing is ever simple. Nothing is ever
Mm-hmm.
simple. And with that, you still right. I love to entertain, because I love to see people's face when they look at the food, and when they look at the drinks that I make. And then when they taste it, then it's the second step, right? It's good. But I just like to please um, people around me. And I think some of the best way to please them is just with good food, good drinks. So that's how the book started. That's, actually my first passion, believe it or not, is cooking. I love cooking, but I am one of those cook that just like a dash of this, a sprinkle of that, and things like that. So it's hard for me to even try to create a book, because I wouldn't know what to tell you exactly. Those are the ingredients. We're gonna put onion, garlic, this and that, but I can't tell you how much. But for drinks, it has to be specific. So that's where, my husband always pushed me, Uncle Sam always pushed me to try to do a cookbook. And I want to do it, but I feel like I will not help anybody. Like,
because you'd be like,
that.
put for salt, just salt to your liking. I don't.
To your taste, I know, right? Everything in the book's gonna be to taste and to taste and to taste. But for drinks, so we used to love going to bars, and even when he used to come and see me at the Four Seasons, we will stay behind and then just have cocktails. And it was just like, okay, they're nice, they're simple, but you can make them so much nicer and so much beautiful, and just elevate the whole presentation of it. And so that's where it came about, the non-mixologist, because I'm not a trained mixologist. I learn on my own, how the different component to a drink, the different measurements and things like that, and how to dehydrate my fruits and all of that good stuff. So it's just passion. It's just I love beauty. I love beauty in things, and and you can just do it from home. It looks so complicated, but it's not. And it's in my kitchen. Yeah. So yeah.
And I see a cross between a gift in hospitality and a very creative side, and just somebody who understands aesthetics.
Because, at the end of the day, Amber, like, let's say it's just three of us, me, mom, dad, and we having drinks. And if those drinks are not up to par, would you go and tell your friend, oh, my Auntie Rose drinks? No, you won't. You know what I mean? Because that's how. So you can never just say, oh, because it's just somebody that I know, or it's my friend, I'm just gonna do something. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. It's and that's probably, you're right, the service part, right? Because the word to mouth is so important. That's And how shy I am about things, and I don't want to put myself out there. And the way my book has been such a success, it's because of people just be like, Rose those drink, and they tell this friend, and they tell this friend, and they tell, you know what I mean? So it's that word to mouth that made it what it is. So you can't just botch, a drink and just say, oh no, that's fine. No, it has to be perfect. And if it's not, don't put it out there. That's okay.
I love it.
It has to be.
And so in your past responses, you kind of touched on the subject a little bit, but I want to hear from you. What does excellence mean to you?
It is to me, it is very simple. For me, excellence is waking up every morning and knowing and being aware that I am building my legacy. That's excellence to me, where I'm living a life of purpose. There's something that just pushed me to always do better, and to want to learn more, to do better. It's just being accountable of everything that I do. Because you know how you introduced me, you're like, I look up to you. I have kids that look up to me. I have tons of nieces and the nieces and nephews, and they look up to me. So just knowing that, I have to be aware of that. And I have to really hold myself accountable to everything that I do. Am I perfect? Am I the best? No. But every time I go to bed knowing that I did my very best. And then I did it with pride, and you know what I mean, and dignity. And that's all that matters for me. That's excellence, to just have a purpose in life, hold yourself accountable, and then just know that you are building a legacy, something that everything that you do, people gonna remember you with those things that you do. So I always have to keep that in mind. That's excellence for me. It starts there.
I've asked people what they would tell their 25-year-old self, because I'm 25, but is there anything just in general, it doesn't matter what age, is there anything that you would just tell your younger self?
You know what, it's so funny. And I love you asked me that, because I've been watching all your interview and I love them. I have to tell you, I love them.
Thank you.
It's so funny you asked me that, because then I asked myself that question, and there's nothing actually that I would tell my younger self. I feel like I've lived I've lived what I wanted to live. Right. And so, it's not like, oh, don't worry. I'm really happy with how I lived my younger self years. However, I would want to tell something. If my younger self could have told something to my old self today, it would be not to worry about so much about things, not to question myself so much, maybe, and we had this conversation. It was like, Auntie Rose, I want it. And I was like, oh my God, Amber, I don't know if I can do this. You know what I mean? My younger self would have been like, yes, we're doing it. Yeah, I'm going to talk with Amber today. And, and I feel like, I revert, where maybe I should be more confident, and I'm not as confident as I was younger. So I'm very envious of my younger self. I am, truly. So if it would have been the reverse thing, what I could, as a young person, just say, Rose, remember when you hit those 40, when you hit 50, remember, You are the shit. You are. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
you are. You know what I mean? Don't doubt yourself.
Mhm.
That's what I wish. No, I have no regret of my younger years. I'm very comfortable with everything I've done and didn't do. So no, it would be the other way around. Definitely, definitely.
We can end the interview here, but if you've watched my interviews, we have to do the rapid fire round.
All right.
Yay!
All right, let's do it.
Would you rather have lunch with Donatella,
Mm-hmm.
or would you rather have lunch with Karl Lagerfeld?
Carl, any day, like any day. Bring him back. Bring him back. Carl
I
Lagerfeld,
know.
any day. Yes, any day. Any day. Is that what you thought? Is that what you thought?
To be honest, I really wasn't sure which one you were going to choose. Because Donatella, she's a character.
She is.
And Carl was as well.
It
Carl
was.
was as well.
It was, but the black and white, the Chanel, that, you know what I mean? That's, yes. Donatella is very colorful.
She has a little, very avant-garde.
Yeah, exactly. I might do one little piece, but no, Carl, yes, any day. Okay.
Birkin or Louis Vuitton?
You know what? It's so funny. Everybody got this thing about Birkin. I don't. I really don't. However, Louis Vuitton, not so much either. I'll go with the Hermes, but I go with the Evelyn.
Okay.
The Evelyn. Oh, the Birkin, no, it's not. I love the bag. You gift it to me. If you gift it to me, okay. But no, the Evelyn from Hermes, love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who has the best? Spring is coming up. So this is why I asked. Spring is coming up.
Uh-huh.
You know fashion better than most people do. So which brand has the best spring bag? Celine or Gucci?
I will have to say spring bag. So we're talking season. I will say Gucci, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I love Celine, but Celine is my classic, the Phantom. You know what I mean? I have them. Celine would never be a seasonal piece for me.
Okay.
Right? It's those classic pieces that you buy. I have a few two tones and things like that, but it's still classic. Gucci, spring bag, new season. Yeah, Gucci will be a good seasonal bag.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in this episode of the Black Heroes and Sheroes of Today interview series. I really hoped you liked it. Please make sure that you comment below and let us know how you felt about it. And please stay tuned for the next episode. With that said, bye.